I'm Sam Otten, a faculty member in mathematics education here at Mizzou, and I'm very happy to welcome you to this online course focused on the standards for mathematical practice. In this course, we're going to basically be talking about one of the central fundamental issues in mathematics education, which is what is our purpose? What's the reason for doing mathematics education with kids, especially K-12? Is it a content purpose? Are we trying to deliver certain facts and skills? Are we trying to make sure that students know certain theorems and rules that they have to be able to follow in mathematics? Or is our goal and our purpose really more of a process goal? Are we really trying to do certain things, give certain experiences to students, and are we trying to help them become a person that has certain capabilities in terms of how they can see the world, how they can think, how they can interact with other people? These process goals could be related to mathematical ways of thinking, mathematical habits, ways of breaking things down, solving problems, giving justifications, critiquing reasoning. There are these practices that are very mathematical in nature, and maybe our goal is to help students acquire those practices and become facile in those practices. And then we can send them out into the world having those abilities and those ways of seeing things. Not that they have to be thinking mathematically all the time, but that they have that capability of thinking mathematically, communicating mathematically, and having these ways of approaching phenomena and approaching each other from a mathematical lens. So all of that relates to sort of content standards or standards for mathematical practice. In this course, we're going to look at those standards for mathematical practice, and we have a few things that we're going to do. First of all, we're going to do some mathematics together so that we can experience and reflect on those mathematical practices firsthand. We're also going to discuss some teaching and learning issues related to the standards for mathematical practice. And then I think probably most importantly, we are also going to try out some specific techniques or instructional strategies to try to bring the mathematical practices into our classrooms. Each unit that we have is going to have a specific technique, something that you can try out tomorrow, you can try out this week, something that you could, if it works for you and your students, you could make it a regular part of your classroom culture. So those are going to be a fun part of the class, and I really look forward to see what people can do with those and what we can share about how those techniques work out with our students. But what I want to do in this video is just give a kind of overview of the class. So we'll look a little bit at the syllabus briefly and then kind of see how we're going to get started. So going into the syllabus, first of all, there's no real textbook that you have to get. There's online standards that you can download for free. There's going to be readings shared through the Canvas site, which is at missouri.instructure.com. So really nothing that you have to purchase right now. There's a few suggestions if you want to purchase something, but you don't really have to. Another thing you can see in the syllabus is the course goals, course description, that's all there. But one of the most important things in the syllabus is probably the schedule. So what you'll see in that schedule is a series of units, and each of these is a 2-week-long unit. And there will start to be a pattern that you'll notice. The unit's going to start on Mondays. You'll have that full week and the weekend. And then it will continue, the same unit will just continue on the second week. And then we'll have everything wrap up and turned in by that Sunday at the end of the unit. And then Monday morning, the next unit will start. So there will be a 2-week pattern. You'll start to hopefully feel the rhythm, and we'll get into a groove on that. Within the units, there's also a pattern. There's going to be a sort of a mathematical activity of some sort that we will do. That will be part of the unit, and you'll turn in your mathematical work into Canvas. And then there will be a reading or discussion topic that we will engage with together, and then there will be this technique or this instructional strategy for trying to cultivate the mathematical practices with your students. So that's really the nuts and bolts of what the units are. You can kind of see a rough outline of the units. This might change as we go. I might make some tweaks and adjustments, or if you see some things that you want to suggest or change, we might modify as we go, but that gives you the rough lay of the land. Now the first unit is a little bit different because we're getting started, and then the last unit will be a little bit longer because we have final exam week and stuff in there. So the final unit will actually be longer than 2 weeks, but that one's really more just wrapping up some final thoughts and final discussions. So that's the layout of the units. In terms of evaluation or assessment on those criteria, you'll see a description of roughly speaking what we're looking for in the course, and then a breakdown for how that will affect your grade. I encourage you to read the syllabus here, this part on evaluation, just so that you can see what we're looking for in each of these different assignment types. Like for example with the math problems, it will say in here that you can write up your math problems, your math work in any format that you're comfortable with. It can be handwritten, it can be typed, it can be a video, whatever you want to do. As long as you can upload it or share it online, we will take that. But we're not looking for perfect mathematics. We're not just looking for the answer. We want to see your thinking. We want to see that you've engaged with the mathematical problems. It's supposed to be something thought-provoking, something to dig into. So what we really want to see is that you have shared with us your thought process and how you approach the problem. Even if you didn't perfectly get to the end or a solution that you're totally happy with, that's okay, as long as you engaged with it thoughtfully and you shared that thinking into the course. In terms of discussions, what we're really looking for is an initial post from you where you share your thoughts on the prompt, and then at least one interaction with somebody else. And that should be a substantive interaction, so not just, oh, that was great, or I agree, but something where you're engaging with another person. So you're asking a follow-up question, you're extending what they did, you're critiquing what they said in a respectful way, but some kind of substantial interaction with another person where we can see that you put some thought and you were engaging with another person's idea. So that's really what we'll look for with the discussions. Those are graded out of 3 points, and if you make your own post, and if you substantively respond to somebody else, and if you do that in a timely manner, then you'll get the full 3 points on the discussions. And in terms of a timely manner, we just don't want to have everybody racing to the discussion forum right on Sunday night, because that doesn't give anybody a chance to see your ideas or respond to them or to build a discussion. So try to get started on the discussion forum within the first week, and then the second week of the unit can be interacting and responding to other people's ideas. There's also going to be the discussions of your techniques and instructional strategies that you try out in the classroom, or that you think about. If you don't have a classroom right now, we'll make some alternative arrangements about how you can do some thought experiments about what you might do and still engage in those discussions. But that will happen in the same way, where we're discussing what we tried. We can tell a story about how it went or how we might do it differently later. But really looking forward to seeing how those techniques work out with your students. You can see there in the syllabus too, the breakdown. The math work will be 20% of the grade. The reading discussions or the topic discussions will be 25%. The implementation discussions, like I said, that's really kind of the heart of the class, is trying out some specific strategies. That's 35% of the grade. And then there will be a beginning and ending assignment that will be 20% of the grade. So that's just a quick overview of the course. You can take a look at more detail in the syllabus. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer those. We also have a discussion forum on Canvas where you can post a question about the course or about something, and I'll answer it, and then that way others can see it if they have the same question. A couple things I forgot to mention. So first of all, in the units, if you look at the schedule, there are some units where I actually have different readings for different people. We have teachers from various grade levels. So in some cases I wanted to have a sort of elementary focused or like K to 7 focused reading, and then maybe a secondary or post-secondary level reading. So some units it will be distinguished that way, so you might have a different reading than some of your peers. But I think that will still work out fine. We'll be engaging with the same sort of idea, generally speaking. The other thing I wanted to mention is just about Canvas. Again, the whole course is based in Canvas, missouri.instructure.com. Bookmark that if you haven't already. But I also tend to organize things by the modules. So when you're in Canvas, you go to the modules. That's where you'll really find everything that you need, organized by unit. So that's where I kind of would go for everything, into the modules tab. So that's basically it. We are starting right away with the first unit, where we will introduce and get to know each other a little bit. We have a reading, and then we'll start with a self-assessment. I'm curious about where you're coming from in relation to the Standards for Mathematical Practice, and I will get a chance to see what sort of items you have that may or may not be related to the Standards for Mathematical Practice. So that's how we will get started in this first unit.